Malaysia has been rocked by news of a massive child abuse scandal.
In 2023 alone, thousands of cases were filed, but experts believe that the number are much higher than that. The question is, how long do children have to suffer before we act? This is not a story. This is a crisis, and we all should open our eyes.
So we need to know what are the definition of discrimination and social class. So the meaning of discrimination is unfair or prejudicial treatment of people and groups based on the characteristics such as race, gender or sexual orientation. So to relate this definition with the case of Global Ikhwan Sendirian Berhad, or we known as GISBH, we found that this agency committed the discrimination to people under them, especially towards children and also women. Social class is a group of people that share the same social or socio-economic status, where we acknowledge that GISBH is the agency is well known intra and international. On September 11, the nation was rocked by reports of sexual and physical abuse of children at welfare homes linked to the Global Ikhwan Services and Business Holdings Sendirian Berhad. However, due to their large-scale company inside the country, even at the international level of business, the authority has discrimination in taking action for their crimes. The high social class is one of the factors. Since it is a large-scale business and contributes to the economic growth, the government does not really take action at first because it feeds the benefit to the government.
Compared to what happens in B40 communities, where even the slightest suspicion of abuse can trigger immediate rapes, arrest and public shaming. The double standard is undeniable. If you are poor, you are punished. If you are powerful, you are protected. When a child comes from a lower income family, the system reacts swiftly but with judgment, not protection. If the abuse is linked to a powerful T20 level organization like GISBH, the reaction is slow, cautious, even absent despite clear evidence. Authorities more aggressively without asking why the abuse happens or who is truly accountable. They act quickly when it's socially convenient to do so, not when justice demands it. Kim and Drake 2018 revealed that biases are more closely tied to social class than race. Economically disadvantaged families, regardless of racial background, are more likely to be scrutinized and subjected to government intervention.
What is stereotype? According to easy language, stereotype defined as a set of ideas that impose on individual and a group of people without taking time to get to know them. It's often based on their limited knowledge, experience, and their negative assumption towards them. It's also aligned with our topic, which is only physical abuse count as a real abuse, since the people that put the stereotype in have limited knowledge and experience about what type of abuse is.
Some people argue that only physical abuse count as a real and serious abuse, since they are visible and provable. For them, emotional and verbal is not count as a real abuse, since there are no physical mark to be proven. You are overreacting. You are overly sensitive is a phrase often heard by children who try to speak up about them being yelled, threatened, or got humiliated by someone, especially their parents. This whole point is saying that just because they isn't being hit doesn't mean that they aren't being abused.
On April 11, 2024, in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysian police detained a married couple who owned and operated a private shelter home in Batu Naik, Cheras. Their arrest followed serious allegations on verbal, emotional and even physical abuse toward the residents of the home, most of whom vulnerable children. An 18 years old male resident filed police reports. He claimed he was left on a electric and subjected to verbal abuse for what caretaker described as disobedience. Shortly after this, 2 more reports were filed from other witnesses. They described psychological and emotional abuse affecting multiple children in the shelter. They are undergoing medical and psychological evaluation, meaning that trauma is being taken seriously.
Child abuse doesn't just leave bruises. It leaves lifelong emotional scars. Victims often grow up battling trauma, fear, trust issues, and even fall into cycles of abuse themselves. That's why we must break the cycle, so that today victims don't become tomorrow's offenders. Abuse has no face, no class, no stereotype. It's time we stop judging and start listening. We urge the local authorities, NGOs, schools, and communities to work together. We can start our prevention too, through communication, good parenting, and also emotional support. The cost of silence is too high. Let's protect our children before it's too late.
In conclusion, the issue of child abuse in Malaysia is closely related to intercultural concept, particularly the discrimination of abuse based on social class and the stereotype that only physical abuse is considered as a real abuse. This cultural perception often leads to the neglect of emotional, psychological, and sexual abuse, especially among marginalized communities.
Therefore, it is crucial to challenge and prevent this harmful concept from dominating public understanding of child abuse. Only by doing so, we can ensure a safer and more equitable environment for the next generation to grow and thrive.